The purpose of Majlis is to show to the world that whatever life they want to live start with their imagination, and then their action that they take in their life, then they can create that life and add the imagination and the dimension they want. And you're the greatest example of how you can create the life you want. You've been an engineer. You wanted a new dimension to your life. You changed from being an engineer to a creative director, to a person who wants to create an impact, to help people to find their, let's say, dreams. Latifa is a great example to that. Latifa Al-Girg, one of the most inspiring ladies in the creative industry, and she made, honestly, an impact on me when I read her story. So would like to welcome her today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And to her right, another great example of someone who wants to stand out but not stand against, which is sharing her style with color. So usually all the abayas, all the dress in the region are always black, but she wanted to add flavor to it, and she's creating a positive, happy impact to the world. Fatma Al-Mulla, please welcome Fatma Al-Mulla as well here. And I'm really inspired by both of you and your thought and your real depth of what you're trying to do. And I'm sure everyone else here wants to know what motivates you. We'll start with you, Latifa, if you allow us. What motivates you to change from an engineer that has his brain structure with the flow to a creative, which a person who like to flow free from structure? What was that motivation?
Yeah, it's like a complicated story. I would say that I always had design in my life, but not so much in fashion. My mother always taught us to give back.
Nice.
It was a part of our life always. You need to give back to the community. And I had taken a small break from my work in construction to raise my kids. And we were traveling a lot. And at that time, we're talking 2011, 2012, the online fashion bubble hadn't exploded. And trying to find things to travel with, that to dress modestly, but was of a Western aesthetic, wasn't really available. At that time, crop tops were everywhere. Yeah. so finding that, and by serendipity or something like that, I found I was looking in a magazine, and there was an article that was talking about how London College of Fashion were giving short courses in Dubai. For one of them was how to start your fashion label. So I thought that would be something interesting to take. I went on that. I talked to my tutor, Toby Meadows, on it. And I was like, I have this idea about a small collection for people who want to travel but dress modestly, but with a Western aesthetic. And he helped me through that. And one course led to another, to going to London, to Paris. And on a train ride back from Paris to London, sitting with my tutor who taught me manufacturing, and her telling me, why are you looking for a manufacturer abroad? You can do this in Dubai. She took my notebook from me. She wrote on it, these are the machines you need. These are the people you need. You live in Dubai, you can do it.
Wow.
And that was, I came back, found a space in Ahvos, and that was that. That was Twisted Roots.
And I like to go a little bit deeper sometime. That motivation, were you not happy as an engineer?
I was happy with the process. Okay. I love my engineering background. It's helped me across the board in all my life. Amazing. I think across the board, it's all step 1, step 2, step 3. Ask my kids, everything is shared calendars and scheduling and everything. But it was a little confining. So
exactly, your talent is an engineer, but your passion in creating and designing.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And communicating with people, connecting with people.
Nice.
And I feel fashion is not only an expression of your view, it's political, let's face it.
Definitely.
It's historical.
Amazing.
It makes an impact on the whole world. So that's the way you connect with somebody else.
Beautiful. So you use fashion to be your tool to communicate and connect, because you told me you love connecting.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. It's always inspiring to see how people seek their joy in doing things rather than doing things just for the sake of paying the bills, but you're doing it with joy. And that's the type of people who change the world. Fatma, I'm really excited to know the daring part of having those ideas of changing the abayas from black and to colorful, because I think it's a nice voice where I read that you're saying, I don't want to go against anything. I'm just expressing. Colors are useful and joyful. So tell us more, why colors? Why too strong of a color, which we see amazingly here?
No, today I'm subtle. My mother always had the thing where she was always dressing up for herself. Never ever did she dress to impress anybody or to do anything, and she was always not following the trend. So for me, growing up in a house that expressed creativity and creativity was encouraged, I wanted to voice my colors, I wanted to voice my designs, but in a very interesting way. And I never intended to do abayas.
Okay.
I was pregnant once. And I wanted colorful outfits that I can wear while pregnant, because all the maternity wear was dull and boring. And I wanted something to also reflect my personality, but also I reached to a point where I felt like, why don't we have anything that's cultural? Why don't we have anything that I can wear, but also representing my culture? And it doesn't have to be a typical jalabiya.
Nice.
So that's how it started.
And the colors that you pick, do they have stories, or they're just reflecting your mood or the idea?
It reflects emotions.
Okay, nice.
I feel. And also, yes, having a business now is different than having emotions.
Yeah. No, but to me, business is the core 100%.
It is. And I feel you have to feel right, and you feel right about a certain product. And subhanAllah, you know that this product is going to be amazing, even if all odds are against you.
How this color makes you feel? This maroon color?
Today, I came for a professional talk. So I'm not wearing something pink or blue, but I wanted something to just reflect the fact that you can look nice, but also add that flavor of color.
And stand out. Very nice. Very inspiring, to be very frank. Maroon is one of my favorite colors. So
okay, good.
You're matching the whole theme here today. Latifa, when we spoke, I see you very structured in your brain, which is very interesting. How you use that structure into facing challenges? When a challenge comes, you're not ready for it, right? Or something happens, so the structure goes a little bit out of the plan.
In electrical engineering, we're taught flowcharts.
Yeah.
So you have yes, if yes, and if no, you go this way. So I approach things with, first of all, a lot of step 1, step 2, step 3.
Nice.
But before that, you identify the problem. The solution, half of the solution is identifying the issue. So let's get to the core of where the challenge is. Why is this challenging? And then build from there. And then we'll dissect it, and a lot of analytical thinking, and then a lot of creativity within the analytical thinking.
Interesting. I would like to ask you the same, but from an emotional perspective, when you face a challenge, because you're an emotional person.
I am an emotional
person. So how
we all are emotional.
Manage the challenges through the emotional, let's say, management and thinking?
I have to be in the right mindset, to be very honest. Like my emotions have to reflect positively to my work. I do believe that when you create something, or you're in the process of creation, it needs to come out of a good space and place in your head and in your heart. And once that's created, then the product or the creation can live. Because if it comes from a place where it's not good, it will die out quickly and the process will not continue.
So So it should start from a good place.
You should start from a good place. And if you're in a bad place, you
Don't do
shouldn't
it.
start.
But how is I totally agree on the good part. But
Yeah.
what about the rooted part? I'm not talking about culture,
Yeah.
about rooted you. How that emotion and the deep insight, because I see you have a very clear personality, which wants to be clearly out there. Right? Complicated?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, to simplify, most of the time when we make decisions, we think outside. Wallah بيعجبهم, will they like it, will they not like it? So how you make a decision? Do you think whether they like it or no, or you're clear that you like it and I will make people like it? Because this is an emotional driven decisions more than anything else.
For sure. I feel like any artist, they are driven by emotions and they are driven by energy. I follow a kind of pyramid whenever I design a collection. And I feel like the bottom part of that pyramid is what has to appeal to my target audience. I have to keep that into consideration because if I'm doing a business, then I have to sell. If I'm doing a project, then I will only please myself. But within that pyramid, the second and third tier of that pyramid, I focus on me being authentic and me doing what I want to do. And the small percentage at the very end is like that unique piece that I know a lot of people will not wear. But I know that this is going to make the most noise for the entire collection.
Nice.
And that like one strand or one piece needs to create as much noise. And even if it's bad publicity or good publicity, it's still publicity. So people can come and hate it, or people can come and love it. But that piece is gonna affect the collection. And I feel when you're true and authentic to yourself, the work will talk for itself. I'm not a person who ever talks about my work often. I'm sure a lot of people know. But I love my work to talk for itself. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Usually when people, they love what they're doing, they don't talk about it, they do it.
Yeah, but we are living in a world of social media
exactly.
where people talk more than they do. And this is something I'm struggling with because I'm more of a do and then I talk about it. And if I talk about it.
Yes.
But people sell the fish in the ocean and just they have nothing. So
helping yourself to become a fish seller through the...
No, I'll never be a fish seller of the ocean. I'll gather the fish and show you what.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's a great challenge that we all live in. And I think the real creative people, they don't talk much, they create. And that's the balance I think we were talking about. And I think it's more led by why do we exist as people and our purpose. And was it easy for you to find your purpose? And do you think you found it already?
I think purpose changes as you go.
Okay.
It's a journey. I have to say one thing first. All respect, Fatma doesn't need to talk. Her voice is clear, loud. She is, mashallah alayha, everything. It's so present, and that's how she with her work. And that, like, I respect that so much, that she's so clear on her voice and so strong in her voice that it shines so clearly and brightly. When we're talking, going back to purpose, I think my purpose shines when I'm sitting with someone, when you come out of a meeting after I'm consulting with a client and they come back and they go, after 2 days, they go, it's all clear to me now. Thank you for the meeting. I sat there, I know where I'm going, or thank you for the introduction and I can realize my vision. And those are the times where I feel like there's my purpose.
Beautiful.
There was one of the biggest times was when we participated with the Expo 2020 design competition, and when we won it and the way they showed us, the way that they unveiled that we won. And because that was, for me, that the purpose of actually participating in that was to show what Dubai represents, how Expo was meant for Dubai and Dubai was meant for Expo. So that was so purposeful, so inspiring. That meant so much to me when they realized that I did want to communicate that, and I was able to do that.
Very nice, very nice. So what I understood from your purpose is to help people find their way, find the right door to open, find the right action to take, which is very noble, to be very frank. Amazing.
Thank you. My purpose. I think finding your purpose is one of the hardest things to do in life, because you always doubt it when things go wrong. Is this what I'm meant to do? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this the right path for me? So all these questions come up. And I do agree with Latifa. I think purpose changes as you grow older. And like, let's say someone's purpose is to start a business. But for me, like, purpose needs to have a very deeper meaning. Like, okay, it's not just to make money and monetize off of whatever you create. For me, it's like you said earlier, like I would love to bring color and joy to people's lives. I would love for people to look at Arabic, Khaliji, Emirati culture in a different light, in a modernized way. So for me, finding my purpose is staying true to what I'm doing and being happy doing it. Maybe I decide to do something else within 10 years, but if I'm happy doing it, I think that would be my purpose. Like, can you imagine your life without perfume?
Not really.
No, come
you
on.
Don't imagine. Wallah, شوفي. You know, my most joyful moment, wallah, مش الفلوس ولا اللي
Yeah, it's the creation.
It's the moment when at 6 o'clock, the creations come to my home and I start smelling what I imagine. That's the extreme. And I'm sure that's what you enjoy. Purpose is a big word. It's something very big, and it's like, it required a lot of thinking. For us, we have a clear purpose.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy. We worked hard for it. It required a lot of brain digging. It will come with time. And you will never doubt, is it because it's not linked to generation of revenue or success, because it's linked with all the obstacles you're willing to take, all the challenges that you're willing to face when you have that clear purpose, which is always hard to find. If you think that an emotion that you own,
okay,
what would be that emotion?
That I own.
Yeah, you believe.
ورائد يبغى تفكير وكل محمد يعني. That I own. I think I'll own being grateful.
حلو. Very nice. ما كان صعب يعني.
لا ما كان بس يعني شوية.
السؤال هو شوية. It's beautiful.
What purpose would you own? Like what emotions would you own?
The emotion is second step through thinking, feeling, and acting. Right? The emotion I believe that I live is unstoppable. Complicated?
No.
Yeah. Simple. Because this gives me the ability to manage my belief system, my brain process, and my action. Right? As you're saying, I face challenges, right? If that emotion that motivates you and drives you and give you that thing, then you're always in the move. So I'll start. What is your emotion?
Curiosity.
Okay. Can you talk about it? Because curiosity to you is different than us.
For me, it's very much about exploration. You explore, you discover. Life is about, that's how you go on your journey. And it's very much keeping a mindset of curiosity and learning about something else. Whatever the experience is at that moment, whether it's good or bad, being curious about why it's there and what purpose does that experience have in your life.
Jamil. Very nice. I think both of you have a totally different creative process, which is beautiful, which is amazing, to be very frank. To me, I see two different brains, two different amazing success.
والله أنت success يا
ما عليكم زود شكلي مصعب. لا والله مش الانتنشن to be as genuine as we are.
Of course.
حلو. ونحن if we ما في حد شوي حتى لنا راسته وخلينا نفكر زيادة ترى.
المشكلة نحن الارتست دوم يعني نحط راسه. دوم. Well, the creative process is not easy.
Not easy at all, and usually it happens by itself. It's not something you guide. Yesterday I was reading about it. There is the focus one and there is the other one, which I don't even remember. The other one, when you discover the solutions and the ideas and things.
I got a book actually. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Meredith. It's a book by John Cleese. He's an actor. He's an English actor, but he wrote a book. Have you read it? No. It's called. I'll also send you. It's called. It's called a guide to easy and cheerful. A cheerful and an easy and cheerful guide to creativity.
Hello.
And it talks about your subconscious and conscious. And literally it was talking about like creativity, but then like and you're like writing and you're trying to figure out the solution. And then when you sleep on it, you wake up the second day or in 2 days, immediately you can know what's happening. 100%. And that kind of in between is what's called creativity is called.
Yes.
And I thought that was so interesting because I always knew that the process, but I never actually wrote it out or like
drawn down.
Yeah, exactly.
So you answered before I asked you. Ahead of the game. So it's beautiful. Yes, I totally agree with you. But I think we're all different.
We are. Yes.
كل واحد عنده process. There are people who really like to be structured. Some people are يعني it's like you took the oxygen out if you make them structured because this is their creative process. Yours like chaos.
You'll be surprised. I love structure.
Okay.
I love structure.
I
so
felt
much.
with the pyramid and the thinking, so that's a very structured way.
I love to draw out like what's gonna happen and how, and I love to make lists. They don't have to go all the time. Like I don't have to do it, but I know it's there. So yeah.
I think I have a similar. I love structure, but I don't like structure.
I'm with you.
Yes. I love everything else to be structured, but I don't like to be structured.
But that's perfectionist, like right? Like you want everything to go your way, but then you don't have to do your way. But everyone else has to follow your way.
We're talking the same language, and it's hard to convince people to explain.
And they think you're strict when you're not.
Because there is Hina here. I always tell her a story. I was telling her we want to create new emotions.
Yeah.
And I explained.
Perfumes are linked to emotions.
She came after 3 years. She says, okay, now I understood. You know what we've done? We brought doctors and psychologists from Spain to explain it to the team. Now they're believing in it. Alhamdulillah. So how is your process of creation? The creative process.
Same thing. It's like when you say that creative thing, it's called moment of flow.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
So I do have kind of headlines, large topics that need to be covered. And then within that, I outline in, you kind of tick boxes, but they're never ticked. So it's like you hit them and then you come back and you revisit it. So when we were designing collections, it would be, I would pick a city or a country, and we would take the city or country, and I'd always say, okay, architecture, culture, language, ceremonies, costume. These are always things we would explore. And then art. And then when we'd done all the research, it would be, okay, this hits, this hits, this, that's what we love. And then you begin the creativity. But you have your outline that gives you a place to go, gives you a goal, a way to think. So it's not very unfocused. And then within that, you can be creative and find creative solutions.
You know what I want to say, to be very frank, ما بيالس أجامل. يعني all the success I see out there that's so loud, they don't even speak anything about what they do. They cannot even speak the way I hear you guys speaking. والله مش مجاملة.
Well, thank you for giving us the stage. يعني honestly, because I feel like there's so much potential for so many different people. If we have like once in a while, we have a good conversation on creativity and how we can benefit from each other. I feel like it's part of the Dubai bubble in the sense where everyone is in their own bubble and they think they know everything. And once you think you know everything, you don't know anything.
Nothing.
Exactly. There's
totally
no
agree.
room to grow. So thank you so much, because I'm one of your biggest admirers of your brand, mashallah, and I've met you today. So I told you, every Eid we buy things from you, so I'm sure we're on the list.
And to be very frank, genuinely, and they know, what we're doing is not purely promoting the brand. We're really promoting the thought.
The thought.
The thinking, because that's what will last. Because believe me, I don't want to point out anywhere, but everyone is copying what we're doing, which is.
I know a lot of the people who are copying, and I'm sure we understand this also, because a lot of people also look at our work and copy it, copy paste. And I don't mind people copying, but if they'll put some little bit of innovation in it, but taking things as is where you.
And
you're like, no.
It's killing everyone else, because if you are not creative, you're bringing a new generation of you, which is not creative, because people inherit your mind and your body, the physical and the mental, and you should know that it's your responsibility to be different, to make something different, to make sure that you improve the next generation, because anybody will give the next fourth generation the same way of thinking. What Latifa, you think no one knows about you? You want everyone to know. Maybe not everyone, but احنا خاصة, we're special to you.
And the social
so
media.
what do you think is something you want people to know that they don't know?
They already know she's structured.
They know. Anybody who's met me knows that I'm structured and logical. That comes across very fast. But I'm really into soil health, environmental factors, food securities. Not many people know that.
I know that about you. That's amazing.
That's a very different part of me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that part and holistic wellness.
Nice.
It's a very big part of my life, of my family life, and the way I raise my children, the way I raise my family, the way I approach life is this holistic life wellness part. And I use that within my business as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So,
Wow. I'll ask you questions later.
yeah. I'm a health coach too. Yeah.
Nice. So,
Well, I'm an open book. As a brand owner, people know a side of me. But people who are close to me know, like, I'm a genuine person. I'm very authentic. I'm very authentic. I will not sugarcoat anything, but I will not hurt other people's feelings. But I am very also, I love sustainability. I love that part. I love helping a lot of people in need. I feel like this is something we shouldn't be talking about, but we should all be doing. I feel I can't wait every Friday, for example, even like a simple message from Sharjah, a lot of the Sharjah charities as well. You need to give to also get. And I feel like part of being Muslim and Arab and living in this region, you have to give back, but also give back in a silent way. And you help people in need, help people in who are not financially stable, who are not health-wise stable as well. So I'm very passionate about that. So maybe that's something not everyone knows.
بنكلمك عن activation we're doing soon.
Okay, great.
It's a nice activation.
Amazing.
I can't talk about it now if you are okay. We're trying to full wellness.
Yeah.
And اليوم how we inspire our kids to start doing good every day. احنا we want to do like a small campaign where everyone عنده حصالة يبدأ يومه يحط ريال.
Very nice.
يصدق بس just start with this, and this is going to be the starting point of your good day.
That's amazing.
And then build on that. شوية every month you add a new habit, because it's all about habits. احنا structure people.
It's called habit stacking.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's such a nice initiative.
inshallah we will share it with you inshallah soon. It's
Yeah,
a very
can't wait.
beautiful initiative, and we have inshallah beautiful plan forward for it, because once you're able to create habits, then you can evolve with them beautifully, which is stacking habits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Habit stacking. You use
habit
one
stacking.
habit to stack another, and then.
And I think a lot of people, أنت يا ستي تتكلمين دين وإسلام و being good. A lot of people not even thinking of.
No, not being Islam, but just being human.
Human. Hey, why they're not thinking why I'm raising my kids. They're so concerned about them to be perfect, and that's the hardest part. Perfection doesn't exist.
And we know that, right?
It doesn't work. Would like to ask you two more questions, and then we can open the floor for the people who are so keen to ask you questions. ببدأ من شحن عشان أريد كذا. Tell us about the one and only. I know it's very hard.
Okay.
To me, if somebody asks me about which is your one and only idea of a fragrance, it's hard for me. Okay. For you, which is the one and only concept you were so proud of the whole idea from thinking about it to making it happen, and why?
It's very easy because I love this product so much, and it's related to what you're doing as well. I drew the Dain'oud bottle.
Okay, nice.
Since I was young, my grandmother always used to give me a small Dain'oud bottle every time, like تصير السوق مثلا, and she would go and get these small perfume bottles. But it was Arena. She used to give it to us all, and I always used to put one in my bag. And when I started illustrating, I wanted something to represent me, but also represent where I am, but also relatable to a lot of different people. So that illustration was later on translated to so many different mediums. I created a phone case. I created a dress. I created notebook.
شكل غرشي يعني?
Hey.
Nice. شفت أنا صدقي.
ممكن. Hey. Because that was copied a lot as well.
Yes.
One of her, like,
yeah, and it was an iconic piece, and I think a lot of people related to it. And I have a very strong emotion when I remember it, because a lot of expats would email me, أيام قبل يعني, would email me before Instagram and say, we love the product, we bought it, we took it to our families, and it reminded us of home. And I was like, aren't you home? And they were like, no, Dubai is always home.
Yeah, nice.
And I thought that made so much, it made such a big impact on me, because then I really thought about, my message is for all my clients and all my customers to carry a piece of culture with them wherever they go. So that was...
you have similar, you want them to carry a piece of, like not a piece, a full emotion. A new emotion which this product can add to it. Beautiful. And what is your concept?
Just talking, I'm thinking. And to me,
his questions are difficult.
Deep.
Because he's adding to the question.
For me, it would be...
سامحونا أنا ما أقصد.
لا بالعكس, يعني these are really thought-provoking questions.
You know what I believe? Why we're not out there? Because this is the discussion naturally we will have, and it's not easy to be understood. But this is the platform we want. We want for people to bring that thinking and that real talking, which we're not waiting to impress anyone. We're just trying to deliver our thought process, our beliefs, and why we do things. And
والله, you don't need to justify it. Like, the questions are beautiful.
عندي goosebumps الحين.
For me, it's when I hear her talking and thinking, and to me, it's actually the name Twisted Roots. The name of the company, Twisted Roots.
I love the name, yes.
Because for me, it was when that concept, it was overnight. I woke up in the morning and I said, this is the name I want. And it indicated, okay, my roots are twisted because my mother is Danish, my father is Emirati. But it's also when you travel, you learn from other cultures, your roots get twisted, you gain from their other cultures, and you grow. So your stems, your leaves grow from those twisted roots.
But it's still strong roots.
Yes.
Beautiful.
But it's also like Dubai, right? Like it's a melting pot for a lot of different cultures.
Yeah, no, and Dubai, the core of Dubai, what is Dubai? It was always a trading port, right? But what makes Dubai different? It's a trading port with a difference, because everybody who comes here, they say we feel like it's home. We don't feel like outsiders. And the reason I believe it's because within the culture, there's this culture of learning from the other. And you're picking up from other people. Like my mother said that even though she came here in the 70s, she said that I didn't feel like a stranger because I felt accepted, because it was learning from the other, accepting the other and learning and then growing with each other rather than just from each other. It's with each other. And that's, our roots are growing together.
That's such a beautiful name, honestly. Yeah.
Amazing. This is my last question. And I'll tell you a story, then I'll ask you the question. You know, and when you design or you create, sometimes you don't believe in things you do, and then turn out one of your best successes. And to not believe, maybe I will say it differently. You don't like it that much. أنا عندي عطر الشيخ عبد الله the same. And I had something in my mind, I'm imagining, and fragrances are the most complicated things to bring to reality. So that thing I imagine I couldn't achieve, but I was showing the team, this is the smell, but I'm not satisfied. But they says, no, it's good. Now for us,
it's the bestseller.
It's the bestseller.
Because we bought so much.
But to me, it's still not yet matching my imagination. Tell us about something similar that you had. اللي تبون انتم ما شاء الله متفاهمين فما.
I'm trying to think.
I cannot put something out in the world that I don't believe in.
Not believing, not liking that much the way, because you always.
I know exactly how you feel.
Perfectionists are not easy to be convinced.
No, but there are some situations where you're like, okay, this is not me completely, but I think I'm just gonna show it to the world and let's see what's gonna happen. And yes, I do agree with you. Some things I'm like, this is gonna work, and like $1,000,000%. And then it's the other thing that I was like, okay, I'm not 100% confident in, but now it's the bestseller. And sometimes you're like, question mark, why?
Which one was it?
So it's one of the dresses we were doing for Eid.
احنا نبغى نعرف الاسم عشان نطلع.
خلاص it's sold out بس
أتذكر sold out queuing.
لا بس أتذكر we did around 700 pieces of that dress, and I was shocked because that wasn't my favorite. But the colors, the dress, the embroidery, everything just worked. So I learned now. Obviously, I'm 10 years in the business, and I think like if I look back at myself, my old self, I'd be like, oh, nothing has to be perfect. There was this, he gave a TED talk, I think his name is Guy Kawasaki. He was the chief evangelist of Apple and Motorola, if I'm not mistaken. He gave a talk and said like, people in the olden days, they used to cut ice. Wherever, like it had to be at certain weather at a certain time during the year, they would get blades and then cut ice. Years later, you have a factory that produced ice. Years later, you can actually create the ice at home. But these people were not the same as these people, and these people are not the same as these people. So he was talking about Apple in particular. He was saying like, if Apple, the employees of Apple and the engineers, if they waited for the right equipment at the right time and the right technology to create their iMac, they wouldn't have created the iMac. So sometimes you have to cut the curb and you have to do with what you have in order to reach to that next level. So I do believe that, but the perfectionist within says, I can't. But with growth, you understand that nothing has to be 100% perfect. And if the audience likes it, and you already have your own customers and you have your own people, and people who share the same values as you will follow. And if they don't like it, you will know. But then that doesn't mean that it's a failure. It means that it's a learning curve as well. So for the next collection. So, I mean, this is something that I'm saying now, it's easy, but living it was very difficult because you grow as a person, but you also grow as a business. And then having that balance of yourself and differentiating yourself from the business is also something that I had to learn. I am not my business, but my business is my business and I am me. So I have to design and I have to create, but it doesn't have to completely reflect me. So yeah, I hope it's a good answer. Clear.
It's a very good answer actually. To you, Latifa.
For me, it's not so much a product. Building on what you were saying and thinking of, when I learned about the process of making clothes, there's a certain process you take, and it's not one that was adapted here. And people are not used to doing it here. And when I first went into the business, it was very much my place to say, nope, I'm not going to do things that way because this is the correct way. And I was sticking to my guns in that way. And after a while, I learned that's not how you build a relationship with someone. It's not your learning process is not continuing and their learning process is not continuing. And approaching them from a place like, okay, so you want this, I'll give you this, but we will discuss it reframe it in a different way. So a lot of things here was like about using patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my biggest struggle with clients. No, you actually do need a paper pattern. Because if you want me to recreate this 50 times, I can't recreate it without a paper pattern. So
I think your situation is a bit different also because there's a mindset of I go to the tailor and there is a process, but then to build the brand and to create.
When you're doing ready to wear and made to measure, it's completely different. Yeah. And trying to educate and teach that this is not the way, it was not working. And it was, for people, the barrier to entry was this price of a paper pattern. Yeah. So we took it from a different way and said, okay, we're not going to charge that much, but we're going to teach them this as a learning curve. And yes, we still have people who come and say that, well, can't you do it without this? But it is much more acceptable. And I do feel that the industry is benefiting from me taking a step back and thinking of it in a different way and not making it perfect.
Interesting.
It's just creativity, right? You need creativity to do that.
Very interesting. I'm really, I think what we gain is more than what we expect in the discussion, to be very frank. And I think we'll keep the floor شوية حق الشباب يسألون if they have harder question for you guys. Anybody would like to know or ask any question?
I was just actually telling Latifa the effects on COVID on my mindset. But I think now I want to focus more on home and carpets. And I think you guys have seen, I don't know if you've seen, but I've posted on Instagram. So I'm creating lamps, I'm creating different homeware. And oh yeah, I'm here. Okay, great. Can't wait to see it.
I saw your rug in the bedroom.
Yeah.
She was taking me for
and she's amazing. And like her house is the dream house. It's my dream house.
Actually,
it's colorful. You have to meet Amira. Amira al-Ulama. But yeah, I mean, the dream house for me to have my product there. And I was so happy that she was actually one of the first people to actually say, I want the carpet and to put it. So I think the more people want to express themselves in a colorful way, I think that's what I live for. So home, inshallah, is the next thing for me. Inshallah.
No, I feel like you were like crazy the kid.
Oh, I wish. I wish, wallah.
I mean, there's a lot of things coming out.
Yeah. No, like I'm the biggest fan of Alessandro Michele, honestly. Like, he's like an icon. I'll faint if I see him.
Now you're actually shifting your role, or you have already. How did the process of educating clients, like you were just touching on about like marketing and so on, how deeply do you now go, because I know sustainability is such a big touch point for university. How do you go when someone sits in front of you and you're just thinking, this is a disaster for my own personal beliefs? Like, how do you balance that?
It's not my vision. It's their vision. And my belief is much more on letting people's voices come out rather than anything else. Because there's a lot of static and a lot of external noise. And I do feel like people are influenced by external forces so much
100%.
that their voices are muted and diluted by whoever is out there, whether it be clients, whether it be retailers, PR companies, because that's what sells. And that's not the beauty of the people we have here. We have such diverse perspectives. You know, Dubai has so many different voices, different perspectives, melting pot of cosmopolitan people, and their voices need to be out. And it's just about peeling back the layers and saying, okay, so who is your client? Where is your client going? What are they doing? What's their daily habits? What do they love? Let's make this happen in that view. So, I love seeing that. I love seeing it come through 3 days later. When they said that stuck with me, and I'm now thinking this. I'm now thinking that maybe I shouldn't be looking at it in this way. So that I spend a lot of time in that space, and I that's the place I feel like I come out and I feel energized and I want to do more.
You're making a difference.
Yeah.
No, because with your own brand, you know, you were the client.
Yeah.
That's why you felt such an affinity with what you were trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. A lot of people don't think that who they're actually speaking for.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, but it sells. It's Ramadan. It's caftans. Like this was the thing that I was doing Western wear. I was doing clothes that don't look, because when I started, when you said modest wear, it was ethnic wear. It was abayas, it was kaftans, it was Indian clothes, you know? And why are you doing Western clothes that's modest? And then I remember going to retailers and putting it out there and then saying, but where are your kaftans? But you're a Dubai designer. How come you don't have kaftans? How come you don't wear your abayas? I remember being in brick and mortar retail stores and they're putting us next to abayas, and I said, no, they're not my adjacency. Put me next to equipment, put me next to Tory Burch, T by Alexander Ward, they're my adjacencies. And when they would put me there, we would sell out. When they put me next to the evening wear, we wouldn't sell.
Yeah.
That's such another insight on the market, you know, merchandise insight.
But this is a reality I feel we all face as Emirati designers being in Dubai. This is it's sad, but it's true that a lot of people will already put us in a box, and some will also go forward and be very okay with that, in the sense that you're an Emirati designer, we expect you to do abayas. And as soon as I go anywhere, they're like, oh, so you do abayas? And I'm like, I do dresses and abayas and I do accessories. But this is the way, like, for me, I would love to go shop in a place where the buyer would understand me.
So don't categorize me.
Yeah.
I want to be here. And we've done it with Gallery Lafayette. When we went the first time, they says, okay, be here. I says, no. No. قلت لهم خلاص, remove the nail polish وكذا, خلوني بروحي. Keep us there alone.
Yeah.
And we took that place. Within 4 days, we became rank number 1. And then they says, okay, then you're different, guys.
Yeah.
You're not like هذا.
But see, in order to do that, you have to really push.
And you have to,
you have to push.
We love to push.
And
if
you
don't
have
push,
your buying
yes, it will come. It will come. It's like we need to push and stop. يعني احنا عندنا a lot of deals we're stopping, not even allowing, because we have very clear certain direction and values. يعني either branding or values or whatever, when we will stick to it, احنا believe money will come, and the rest is being real. That's what we want to do. Questions? Please.
You actually very touched on sustainability. It feels like it's really possible. How do you ensure with your brands that you are actually sustainable? It's not just possible.
حكم ما يخصني.
I was talking to her about this before. Let's face it, in the fashion business, there's a lot of greenwashing.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of greenwashing, and I think you saying, as I said before, being sustainable is like saying I'm human. It doesn't mean much. So I think stating how you're sustainable, what areas you are passionate about being sustainable, that's much more authentic. So when we did the Expo design competition, we had a brief where it said they wanted some type of sustainability. So with that, we took it from the recycled polyester side, the plastics in the sea. Yes, there's still going to be microplastics, but it's a recycled source. And it's whether it's mechanically or chemically recycled, that's the angle we took on that. When it comes to my own fashion brand, when we were doing that, it depended on the season and what we could source at the time. But we were a small brand, so there's only so much you can do. And let's face it, we're here. So sourcing raw materials and shipping is always going to be an issue. Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest, I focus mostly on printing, and that's not very sustainable. I can lie and say, yes, I'm a sustainable brand, but I'm not about that because my fabrics have polyester, and they are polyester based in order to absorb the amount of colors that I'm using. So in terms of sustainability, we try our best to not waste and to not over print or to not overdo anything. So what we do is we have a small number of prints and items that we create, and then we do it based on order. What we do is also to minimize and to sustain is to use as much of the fabric as possible. So I'm not going to sit and waste fabric and also throw it. What I do with the extra fabric is I make packaging out of it. So when you get an outfit, you can get either the same fabric or a different fabric, and I just insert it, and instead of wasting paper and doing a lot of different things, I give you a bag that you can reuse again and again and again. I did have a talk not recently, pre-COVID. For me, that's recent, because this is my second talk after COVID. I did have a talk about sustainability. And in the talk, I was very surprised because I was in the panel with 2 other different people. And for me, again, we can talk the talk, but then again, if I'm worried about paying my employees, getting all of these payments done, not having, a proper way of conducting things, the last thing on my mind would be sustainability. And it's like you're telling someone, fall in love in a place that has war and chaos. Can they fall in love? They cannot. So yes, it's at the back burner of the brain, obviously, and you want a positive impact, and you don't want to waste the earth, but also the bigger brands are wasting a lot. And you will find there was an article also I read recently about these major brands, high-end luxury brands, that they slash the bags and do a lot of these things. And so how is that sustainable? But then in their campaigns, they will tell you that they are sustainable. I don't know. So for me, I feel like with the age of social media, I tend to always want to research what I'm reading. So for me, sustainability would mean now for me that I am saving as much as I can. I'm not wasting, but also in the years to come, I have to find ethically sourced fabrics. I have to find ethically sourced printers. But in order for that to happen, I need to wait for the right kind of printers to be created in order for my kind of prints to be on them. But I do believe in slow fashion. I think slow fashion should be the next trend. And, taking your favorite pieces and converting them to other kinds of means is essential. So I hope I answered.
Thank you.
I had a question actually for both of you.
طلعيني الموضوع.
Yes, thank you. Please include
حاضرين.
It's very inspiring to hear and think everyone how you feel about this every day has been entrepreneurial mode, right? I feel that the motivation comes from you wake up every day in the morning and you have to do what you want to do. And there is nobody else to motivate you, What I really wanted to know from each one of you is that what is that one thing that you keep alive in yourself every time you wake up in the morning to do what you really love to do?
أنا برجع لكم
Let's Hamid answer.
احنا we know ladies first فتفضل يا لطيفة.
Me, it's not so much the morning, it's the night.
No, the question is amazing, and to be very frank, and this is maybe a research that we're actually talking to university to talk about and to understand, because motivation is not something easy to gain or to know how things start with you. So if your question is about each of us, I think they will answer. But if the question is general, usually motivation comes from a drive, whether it's a trauma in your childhood, whether it's a thing happened to you or a requirement you want to reach to. And there are great successes globally that we see that are driven by small small driver happen within their childhood or through a process or a challenge in their life. My motivation, will share it with you when the lady starts.
Nicely diverted. For me, I have an evening practice. So I have 2 evening practices that drive me for the next day. The first one is every night I write one thing I did well and how I contributed, why that went well, and one thing I didn't do so well and how did I contribute to that not doing so well. So it drives me to the next day thinking of how I'm going to reframe that. And then I keep a gratitude journal, 5 things I'm grateful for that day, when you said gratitude, and 5 things I am going to be grateful for in the future. So that drives me for the future.
Nice.
When you said trauma, actually, it clicked. Not childhood trauma. I hit a very kind of busy time in my life a few years ago where I was extremely overwhelmed because I felt like I put myself in the center of everything and I was micromanaging everything to the point where I couldn't function myself. And I remember I was very overwhelmed and I was very stressed and I didn't understand why. And also part of me was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. I cannot keep innovating and designing and innovating and designing. It's a tiring process. But then I had an accident. The car flipped and I was with my son and I was driving and one thing led to the other. I was in the hospital. Obviously it was very dramatic and everyone was like scared. I remember after everyone left, I'm like with the IV in my hand and my son is sleeping in the other bed and I'm just sitting down in the hospital. I'm answering customers. I'm going on Instagram and I'm answering inquiries and my team was like asking me all these different questions and I didn't tell anyone that I had an accident. Actually, this is the first time I'm actually talking about it publicly. But I just felt like this is what I'm meant to do. I love what I'm doing. If I don't love what I'm doing, I wouldn't be doing it at 1 a.m. in the morning in a hospital with an IV in my hand. So I love engaging with customers. Did I need to put it down a notch? For sure. But it also taught me that I am human. I do deserve to have a life. I do have to have my own emotions. I have to have my free time. I am not an engine. I need fuel and I need the positive energy as well. So when I create something and I get a positive reaction to it, I'm the kind of person who will feed off of that. That's why during COVID, when I felt like everyone was shut down and it was like, okay, should I go back to painting? Okay, what should I do? And it was like, okay, but I still need to create. And for me, being a product owner, I mean, you can relate to this. Being a product owner is different than being an artist, because being an artist, you're just exploring and just, but a designer who's selling or being commercial is different because there's so many things that need to be ticked, and there's so many things that need to be in line before you can sell. So for me, it was suddenly like, am I an artist again? Like, should I design for myself? But I think when you find your purpose, you'll know. And then when you fall out of purpose, you'll also know. But then when you fall back in purpose, you'll also know. So it's a process. It's not a straight line. And I feel like a lot of people with businesses think, okay, I'm going to start something. It's going to be amazing. But as Mr. Muhammad said before, you need the brain to be there. You need to assemble a team. You need to create. And that business needs to be sustainable before it could be a project, you know, or it's going to be a project. So for me, it was all about, I'm happy doing this, but I need to know where my boundaries are. And I need to respect myself and my creativity. And also, you know, when you get angry, you need to respect yourself when you get angry. You need to respect that space. And I think that's very important, because being an artist and giving so much, there needs to be a boundary. Like, I'm not going to give today. I'm going to oversee. And I think that's what I've learned about finding your purpose.
Nice. It's my turn. I think she's planning this for a few days now. See, what motivates me, to be very frank, everyone has his own motivation. To me, I have a very structured approach, since I'm not a very structured man, but I have a structured way to be motivated. Is first of all, I have my North Star. My North Star is always clear. I know where I'm going. So even if I have a bad day today, I wake up, I remember it, I push myself and I move. Then I have my daily checklist, which reminds me that there are things to be done, which motivates me when I'm getting them done. And I have my family, I have my kids, I have my wife, I have my friends and family that I think they are part of my responsibility, because I have 5 things in my life I always plan every year that I want to improve. One of them, the family, the friend, the financial, and the physical and mental and well-being and all these things. So those things, when are there very clear to me, that's create a motivation. Because what happened mostly, what demotivate people is when they are lost, when they don't have clarity about their next step, or they don't have a next step. Once you have that, this is my perspective. There are many different perspectives, but my perspective is when you have your North Star clear or your vision, that's lead you to a motivational activity. Lately, we're talking about because our North Star before used to be 1B, which is everyone belongs to what we do. It wasn't very clear. So we wanted to make it simpler and easier. We said we want to touch 8 billion life, okay? Or actually not touch, scent 8 billion lives. When we say we want to scent, it doesn't mean fragrance. We say to elevate their life. And if we are specialized in perfume and we reach to them with the scent, we can bring education, we can bring shelter, we can bring many things. And that's what motivates me now, big time. No matter how challenging is the day, I see that and I see it's possible. And that's my real motivation. And thank you for this question.
Well, it's so nice.
And that's what will motivate everyone around you, because if it's something that everyone can be part of, that will bring everybody together and work toward it, whether from a design perspective or manufacturing, or we all can have that same mission in life, because we all want to help people. At the end of the day, no matter what you do, if it doesn't touch someone else, the joy is not there. So that's the motivation. Thank you for your amazing question. Any other question?
What's satisfying from me? MashaAllah, everyone is great. And again, a lot of time from your life. Amazing. What's making you special?
You can start. What satisfies me is it's very little. When I get a good reaction, when the product does well, when I feel good about the design, when we make money, That's an added bonus. Hold on. To be realistic. When there is growth, you know, in the team, when there is growth in financial growth, team growth, emotional growth, that's what I feel satisfies me. When there isn't growth, I'm dissatisfied.
Well, for me, it's very much hearing from others that they've benefited, that being of value, serving a certain value, giving value to someone, connecting someone with somebody else. It's very much feeling that human connection.
Sharing that.
Yeah. Like I was saying, in design and creativity, it is supposed to be a very collaborative place, but it's a very lonely place.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So when you feel like you've connected people and people are actually inspired by that connection, that satisfies me.
شوف, I'll talk about it from a different perspective. First of all, me with things, not with a human. With things, if I see what I imagine to reality, I see it happen, that is an amazing satisfaction. Whether it's a design through making a watch or a scent or a sandwich. That gives me ultimate satisfaction, me and myself. If it's with people, it's genuinely identifying their strength and where they can perform the max. It's like me finding a new life for them. And that's gives me real ultimate satisfaction, and I can celebrate this forever. I remember a few messages I received through people that I interviewed for a job. So they come to the interview, we talk, then I says, why not, why this? They says, but you don't want to hire me? I says, no, I'm just talking to you. I'm not trying to pick you for a job. I'm trying to know you. Then I can help, or you can help me when we know each other. So after the interviews, after maybe 2 years sometime, I received messages saying, thank you very much. I'm no longer doing that job. I'm doing something different. Yeah, and that's what's really, I feel now again. And that's what really satisfies me. بس سؤالك صعب هذا. يسلموا.
There is this tendency of people coming up with an idea and they want to jump in and they want to just go in. And I understand that drive and it's very honorable. However, once you get in that cycle, it's very quick and you get to drown yourself very quickly. So I would say even if you want to get collections, put in 2-3 collections in the bag, get them ready, be sure and be very prepared with who you are, who you're speaking to, what you stand for. Because a lot of people will push from the outside to dilute your voice. So being very sure in what you are gets you where you want to be. So you need to prepare that ahead and don't be scared of time. Just don't be scared of time, relax, it's okay. You can launch, like I've had so many designers come and say, no, we have an SS collection and we need to launch it by this time to catch the SS. It's okay, next SS is coming. We just prepare, feel good, be confident, and your perspective is valuable and it will be valuable when it's launched.
Thank you.
For me, I can tell you that don't do it. Unless you really are passionate about it. Because if you're not, then there is a dawama, right? Like there is
a whirlpool.
Yeah, a whirlpool. It will suck you in and then you cannot breathe. But if you're really passionate, I think if you're well prepared, yes. But what added value are you going to give to the world, to your community? Like, why should you be a fashion designer? what's so special about your items? How is it benefiting people? What problem are you tackling? So for Latifa, for example, she tackled the problem of I can't find modest wear to travel. I created one. So I found a need and I filled it. What is your need and how will you fill it? Like fall in love with the problem and then fall in love more with the solution. And I think if you have that, then you will have your North Star.
I tell my clients all the time, there are easier ways to make money. If you're getting in it for the money, that's the wrong reason to get it.
NFTs now.
Yes.
I still don't know what it is. I tried.
It's just something that is
I tried.
You need my answer as well, ولا هم بس? And I'm supposed to be asking the question. See, I will rephrase the question. Usually the biggest challenge is to want to be something or to be someone. I think the best way is to look at it, you want to do something. So look at what you want to do, don't be. Clear? You have an answer? So don't be, as she told you, a designer. Do a designer. Once you do, it's from inside. You don't want to prove, you don't want to show, you want to enjoy the doing part. But the being part is for us. The doing part is for you. So find what is the doing and you will find the right
والله
answer.
لازم تكتب كتاب. لازم تكتب كتاب. He has to write a book. And we all
لا
have to
والله
quote
ما
him.
عليكم
ما
زود.
شاء الله
أنتم ما
عليك
شاء
يعني
الله
صراحة.
عليكم.
No, بس ما شاء الله, like I think you rephrased it in such a clean way that it is about being.
يعني ما بلازم اكتب كتاب
And about
افتح
doing.
مغسلة. لا والله مش مجاملة. I'm not complimenting, but I'm impressed to the sky
والله thank you.
with the discussion.
We're very
صراحة.
impressed صراحة.
Thank
And
you
Eid is
so
coming.
much and thank you مردف for شو اسمه والعيد مالكم من عندنا ما في مجال.
الله يخليك.
واللي تعمروا به.
لا والله
حاضرين.
الله ما يأمر عليك عدو. لا I love your brand so much and I think it was so beautiful
Camera,
watching it
please
grow.
focus video now.
It's so beautiful watching it grow because I wasn't ever a scent person ever. Like I used to just put whatever perfume that was in the house, but there are scents where I'm like, this is my mother when she was going to a wedding. This is my father when he was going to a meeting. And now it's like my husband's obsessed with scent. Like he knows the smell of someone who was here like 2 hours ago. And so I feel like it's also a very cultural thing. So I was introduced to the brand like I think before 2012 even. And I was in awe. And now, like whenever we travel, we want to give a nice gift to someone. We literally gift them a scent. And Sheikh Abdullah is actually like the very popular one we buy because, mashallah, I'm happy that you let it go through.
لا بعدني بطلع واحد ثاني لأن بعدني في بالي. جزاك الله خير. I'm really grateful for what you're saying.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
You don't know it before, صح ولا؟
No, I do. It's I'm not big on scent very much.
Now we will work on you.
Yeah,
inshallah.
It's okay. My kids are more than I am.
Oh,
So
nice.
But it's it is a beautiful brand and what it speaks for, and
and
it
the
is
fact that
true.
it's Emirati and it's grown.
You know, the whole
beautiful.
idea when I started was very simple. I want to create trust في قلوبنا. نحن we didn't have that confident, and I don't want to say it confident. We don't believe before. أتكلم من 22 سنة أو 23 سنة. We always trust everybody else but not us.
Yep.
So the idea was, let's do it. Let's not prove to the world, prove to us that we're capable. And we are big time, but we needed to see it. And everyone, when I started, they says, okay, Ride made in France. I said, why? They says, because people will buy. I says, this is not my mission. I want people to have confidence. I want us to have confidence on us. And alhamdulillah, that has happened. I started even with the wrong Arabic intentionally. Wallah, Hind العود ما بصح. Grammatically is not correct. And now it's a normal thing. And that's the proof to people that we create a language. We create a perception. And the whole story was about making people believe that you can do it.
Yeah.
بعدين من 7 سنوات قلت خلاص الحمد لله. Today we have local brands that are confident about their ability, that they believe that they contribute globally. Now let's put our next step mission, and that was for this brand to create a scent to every emotion.
Very nice.
So that was the next step for this brand, and inshallah now it will be contributing to the group corporate purpose, which is scenting the world, يعني inshallah to touch the people. ألف شكر. ما قصرتوا وجزاكم الله خير.
Thank you so much for having us.
والله thank you, and thank you Meredith for the amazing gathering, and thank you all for being here. We learned a lot about ourselves as well, which is nice, which is interesting. وإن شاء الله نشوفكم قريب.
إن شاء الله.
وبلغي سلامي لزوجك يوم
إن شاء الله أبيبك.
لا إحنا تشوفي من we will have something special for your family and for your family.
you're very kind.
Whenever
لا we want to support صراحة. So we will buy يعني.
إن شاء الله.
ما تقصر. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.